Hello, this is Tommy Ivy, video number 35. The title is Money, 5 Lessons That Will Change Your Life. 5 points with this video. Number 1, God can give you more than money. Number 2, a story. Number 3, if money is not important, what is? Number 4, what to do with your money. And number 5, lessons. Number 1, God can give you more than money. In 2 Chronicles chapter 25, there's a story in the Bible about King Amaziah, who was going to fight a neighbor, the Edomites. Even though he has a large army, 300,000 men, the king wants some reinforcements. He hires 100,000 man army for the price of 100 talents of silver. Through a prophet, God said, "No, these men come from a godless, sinless people." The king thought about it and said, "Well, how about the money I have already paid?" God said, "I am able to give thee more than this." Amaziah wondered how much it would cost him to be obedient to God. He was about to lose 100 talents of silver. Whatever obedience costs, it is always cheaper than disobedience. God did give more to Amaziah. He was with him, and Judah defeated the Edomites, and they took the spoils. Often money influences our decisions in a bad way. Number 1. For instance, some people work instead of going to church. In a Sunday school in McBee, South Carolina, Edward and Tom King came every Sunday morning. I was a young child, and even then I was impressed because they were my relatives and very busy farmers. They did not work on Sundays. There were temptations, like sometimes the sun was shining on Sunday and rain was forecasted for the next few days. But this principle was firm. They're both long dead now. It's probably a good decision while they were alive. In Genesis, God rested on the seventh day. A biblical example in Leviticus chapter 25, the Israelites were to plant, prune, and harvest crops for 6 years. The 7th year, no planting or pruning. They could eat any food that grew on its own, but not sell any food or store any food. By obeying and trusting God, the Israelites were promised more. In Leviticus 25, verse 21, "Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth fruit for 3 years." So they didn't just get double the harvest, they got triple the harvest. So trust God and have more profit. Often money influences our decisions in a bad way. Number 2, if you are in debt, you may not have the freedom to fully trust in God to provide. I will go in debt for these clothes, for this car, for this expensive house. Yes, even for a house, you can have the money before buying it. You are saying, God cannot meet my needs when you buy something before having the money. You desire immediate gratification, but that will put you into debt. Proverbs 21:20. There is treasure to be desired in all the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up. The wise man saves necessities for a rainy day. The fools waste necessities or treasures right away. They spend it right away. So just be patient. Proverbs 22, verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. So trust God. He can give you more than the money can give you. Number 2, story. Jonah and the loan. Jonah was a talented carpenter in a small village and admired for his craftsmanship. However, he often desired the finest tools and materials, even if they were beyond his means. One day he came across a state-of-the-art woodworking machine that promised to make his work faster and easier. Without much thought about the consequences, Jonah borrowed a large sum from a wealthy merchant to purchase it. At first, everything seemed to improve. Jonah's projects were completed more quickly and he attracted new customers. But soon, the monthly loan payments became overwhelming. No matter how hard he worked, Jonah could not earn enough to cover his expenses and the mounting interest on the debt. Jonah worked long hours, leaving little time for his family or worship at the synagogue. His wife noticed his growing irritability and distance. Jonah stopped giving to the poor and contributing to the temple, feeling he couldn't afford it. When Jonah missed a payment, the merchant came to collect. Jonah pleaded for more time, but the merchant warned, "If you can't repay the debt soon, I'll take your tools and workshop as payment." Jonah was crushed and felt hopeless. A wise friend's advice. Desperate, Jonah confided in his friend Samuel, a farmer known for his wisdom and faith. After hearing Jonah's story, Samuel reminded him of the Proverbs teaching, "The borrower is slave to the lender." He continued, "Jonah, your desire for more has trapped you, but God's mercy is greater than your mistakes. Humble yourself and seek his guidance." With Samuel's help, Jonah developed a plan to turn his life around. Cut expenses. Jonah sold unused tools and reduced his spending. Work hard. He focused on smaller and less costly projects to bring in a steady income. Trust God. Jonah prayed daily for wisdom and strength, asking God to help him honor his obligations. Over time, Jonah repaid the merchant and regained ownership of his tools. Though his lifestyle was simpler, Jonah felt a profound sense of freedom and peace. He learned to be content with what he had and resumed giving to others, trusting God to meet his needs. One evening, Jonah gathered his children and shared his experience. "Debt made me a servant to another man, but God reminded me to serve him alone." 2 lessons. God's mercy is greater than your mistakes, and God can give you more. No debt is freedom. Number 3, if money is not important, what is? Psalm 49, 6-12. All right. They that trust, this is verse 6, they that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, I'm all set, no problems. None of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of their soul is precious, and it ceases forever. So, while the person is counting their money, they could have been trying to help some people get to heaven, because salvation is eternal. Verse 10, "For he seeth that wise men die, likewise the fool and the brutish person perish and leave their wealth to others." We're all going to die, the rich, the fool and the wise man, and we're going to leave our money to somebody. And this is going to be a windfall profit to these people. And windfall profits are not valuable like it is when you work hard for that particular money or wealth. Verse 12, "Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beast that perish." So the person with money is going to die like a beast. Their money's going to be gone. They're going to realize that they can't take it with them. And what you're supposed to do is to be rich in eternal things. Proverbs 23, verse 5. "Will thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as eagles toward heaven." So riches fly away. if you're not rich in money, in what? In verse 14, it will tell you, training and discipline your children results in obedient children. That can be eternal. Verse 17, fear the Lord. That's fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and fear the Lord is probably the beginning of your salvation experience. If you know anybody who is struggling with salvation, send them to my video number 23. What must I do to be saved? It's really pretty clear on how to be saved. Verse 23, wisdom. That's something that will help you all of your life. And verse 24, respect your parents and you can have a long life. So these are things that if you're not rich in money, you're rich in what? These things. You're rich in your children, you're rich in salvation, you're rich in wisdom, you're rich in your parents respecting them. So these are some good things. Luke 12, 16 to 21. That is the rich young fool. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, this is Jesus saying this, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. So he's doing very well. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, because I have no room where to bestow my fruits? And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall these things be, which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself, and not rich toward God. He had extra bounty. He could have, thought about giving some of it to his neighbors. Instead, he got greedy. He wasn't content. He wasn't going to share. He wanted to save it forever, and forever was only for a few more hours. Number 4, what to do with your extra money. 1 Timothy 6:18, that they do good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, share. R.C. Sproul, he's a preacher that I listen to a lot. He has a lot of wisdom. He says to do this with your money. Number 1, tithe. Number 2, take care of those under your care, because it says in 1 Timothy 5:8, but if any provide not for his own, and specifically for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. And number 3, anything you want. I'm not sure I completely agree with this point, but I think he's emphasizing tithing because he said so few Christians, even Christians, they don't tithe. He said, I don't care if you tithe on your net or your gross, just tithe. And I think he was really trying to emphasize the fact that just regularly give to the Lord. Number 5, lessons. Number 1, God can give you more than money can give. Number 2, stay out of debt. 3, if you are in debt, think about the story of Jonah and have a plan. Number 4, be content. We don't really need so much. Number 5, trust God 100%, not just 50%. Song. It's called How Deep the Father's Love for Us. The words are pretty good in this song, so listen to them. How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure. bring many sons to glory. Beyond the man upon the cross, my sin upon his shoulder, ashamed I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished. I will not boast in anything, no gift, no power, no wisdom, but I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection. Why should I gain from his reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart, his wounds have paid my ransom. Thank you for listening. This is Tommy Ivy, video number 35.